The biggest complaint about Democrats is that they are disconnected from the real needs of their base, and they're finally rolling out a strategy to fix it. Democrats got their asses handed to them in the 2024 elections. And it wasn't so much about the numbers as it was about voters abandoning their belief that Dems were the party that protects the working class. They let MAGA own the narrative that you were being taken advantage of and only Trump could fix it. So, the introspection that usually comes after a good old-fashioned clobbering was slow out the gate. Giving lackluster, giving feeble, giving, honestly, scared. And then suddenly, one day, Bernie Sanders showed up in Nebraska.
What a turnout. Thank you very much.
And whether he knew it or not, and let's be real, he probably did, gave Democrats a vision of what it could look like if they got their lick back. And thus, the People's Town Hall was born. That surge of anger and frustration and fear in the air, yeah, it's harnessable and growing more powerful as the economy and social safety net literally crashed the fuck out. So they've started showing up. Bernie hit red counties in 4 states on his Fighting Oligarchy tour. Elizabeth Warren said, "My message is bigger in Texas." Even Tim Walz, remember him, was like, "Get me back out there, coach." And even here, where agita can be mined in its purest form, New Jersey.
So they are not listening to us. What do we do to make them listen to us, Tom?
This district is held by a Republican. But Tom Malinowski, who used to hold this seat, is showing up because Tom Kean Jr. isn't. How are you trying to access this community in a way that he is not, and why is that important?
I just talk to people. When I was a member of Congress, I did around 140 of these events in 4 years. Basic idea is nothing radical or revolutionary. It's just that if you represent a community, you should be available to them so that they can ask you questions, challenge you, disagree with you, hopefully agree with you some of the time. Tom Kean is one of the worst of the breed of modern Republican members of Congress who just never does that. So if you put him in front of a crowd, it would be a little painful to watch and certainly painful for him to experience. Why be an elected representative at any level if you don't enjoy doing that, if you don't relish the fun and the thrill of standing in front of a group of folks like this and talking about policy and government and what it can do? Like that's like the best part of the job for me.
And I think a lot of people who are just the average Joes in this room would like to know, what are the things that you think we can do to stem the tide here?
Democrats are kind of known to, or at least have a reputation right now for being afraid of unscripted environments, especially ones that go on for 2 hours like you did tonight. How can the rest of the party, especially if they are going to red districts, learn from your example?
I mean, this was a Democratic crowd, but I used to have Republicans and Trump supporters coming to my town halls, and sometimes they'd come up to me afterwards to say, I didn't agree with everything you said, but actually surprised me, I did agree with some of them. I think we need more people who are comfortable doing that, who have fun doing that, who are not afraid of making a mistake from time to time, and then hope that the message gets out there.
There's been Democratic infighting for, as long as I've been in this business, which is not as long as you have been in this business, but we know it well that everybody thinks progressives and centrists cannot work alongside each other. Is there going to be a successful attempt made to unify the party and get this message out in the right medium?
I think we can unify the party around defending civil rights, civil liberties, the Constitution, the basic ideas, how this country should be run. We can unify the party easily around opposition to policies that are so obviously stupid that even loyal Trump supporters have questions, like making Canada the 51st state and making all of our groceries and energy and housing and everything else more expensive to force that. I think we can unify the party around that's stupid. I don't think we have to unify the party around the AOC vision versus the Josh Gottheimer vision of what our economic policies should be, because if we don't win the basic fight for democracy, none of that matters.
Where does it go from here? So Democrats host town halls in red districts. That's energy, that's showing up, that's listening, that's engaging.
What do we do? How do we stop it?
Then what?
We have to have a message and an argument that's based on what's happening in people's lives. And the thing about Trump is you never know what's going to come next other than chaos. So I think having a message that I think can break through the divide, the information divide, about inflation, about people losing their jobs.
So how can we find out what impact all those Doge cuts have done to our veterans in that community? How do we find out so we can help them?
Pointing out that making Greenland rich again is not going to lower the price of eggs. I don't think that's a hard argument to convince anybody of.
You never know what's going to happen next. You're right about that.
The basic Trump strategy is demoralization. It's throwing 100 different things at us every single day to the point where people say it's too much. I can't even keep track of it all. We feel powerless. Congress can't do anything. The Supreme Court is too conservative, and so on and so on and so on, until we don't even pick a winnable fight because our morale is so down. And so in a way, like, the most important thing we need to be reminding ourselves as Democrats is the law's not on his side. Most Americans are actually not on his side when it comes to what he's actually doing. We have some agency, we have some power, we know how to organize. It cannot be done immediately, but it can be done in time to save this country.
Last Saturday was the 60th anniversary of Selma, and John Lewis told us we were supposed to get into good trouble. I want to know what the Democrats are doing to stand up and flip the tables to stop this administration from doing the things they're doing, besides just filing the legal briefs and doing the law thing.
I agree with Amy, we need to fight this. And what are we doing?
And I think there's also a psychological element, Democrats being good guys, being careful, being responsible. We're always thinking about what the other side can do to us, and we don't think enough about how to make them fear what we can do lawfully.
If there's one thing politicians will do, office holding or not, it's talk a big fucking game. It's their currency and definitely present in this strategy. But will it console and convince a desperate electorate? So part one of Democrats Get a Fucking Grip is showing up. And audiences around the country are matching their energy. Summit, New Jersey Dems expected 50 people. 800 tried to RSVP. But just physically being there is not enough for a political party to stake their whole future on. Part two is what separates the powerful from the powerless in our politics. What someone like Malinowski is doing in his old district to both loving and hostile audiences. Democrats have to be able to articulate their own coherent, alternative vision of this country. The days of Democrats just resting on the laurels of just not being Trump have to be over. That hubris really absolves them from their duty to actually sell voters on the benefits of their leadership. The next step for the party is giving people something to root for, not just against. If Democrats can convince people that they are the party that protects freedom of speech, they fight for your right to protest, they believe that 200% tariffs on champagne are crazy and annexing Greenland is stupid, then they're cooking with gas. I'm always going to be watching how the people react to the politics. So make sure you board this train with me, like, subscribe, comment, put notifications on so you don't miss the next episode of What the Fuck America.